Okay, everyone, this is Kali Linux, and we are going to install it at this point. You've already created the machine, and if you remember correctly, this is an hypervisor. The hypervisor is Oracle VirtualBox, and what it allows us to do is create the virtual machines and manage them. So obviously, we've created this machine with 6 gig RAMs, with 2 processors. If you do not remember the process or you do not know the process, you can easily go back to the previous video. At this point, I'm going to show you how to install Kali. So the first thing you do is click Start. Starting the machine, basically, the machine has come to this particular point. Now, side here, you would have about 30 seconds, which is being counted right here, to press any key. So if you do not press any key within the next couple of seconds, it's going to move to speech synthesis. So if it does that, you need to close this and start again. If you need to bring up your mouse at any point in time, because it will capture your mouse, so your mouse won't be able to move, you can press the control key on the right. The control key on the right. So your keyboard has 2 control keys. One will be on the right, one will be on the left. So click the one on the right, it's your host key, and your mouse should be out. So I'm going to also close this. These are notifications, and then we proceed to do the installation. Click on General Install, Graphical Install rather, because that will make it a very nice graphical version of installation. And with that, you get to this page where you basically print English, select whatever language you are used to, configure the keyboard, and that takes you into the portion where you get to set up your installer. Okay, so we're just going to wait a minute. Okay, so one place you want to do is put in your host name. Your host name is going to be the name of your operating system, or rather, this machine you are creating when it is connected to a network. You can set it to anything, but Kali by default is fine. Anything, right? You put anything in there, it doesn't really matter. So we'll continue. Domain name comes up when you want to connect this to a domain, like for instance a company's domain. For instance, you could have maplete.org. So this machine becomes part of Maplete's computers, but of course with that you will still have to put in the details. So we're going to leave it empty since we are not joining this to any domain. And then we click next, and we have to put in the full name for the user. You could go ahead and put in a name. I'm just going to put in Kali. And for the username will usually be generated from the name. Take note, you could always go back if you make a mistake. Going back takes you back, and you can come back forward to make any changes. The username, please do not forget your username. Also note that it's always in small letters, no capital letters, right? It should always be a small letter. So Kali, and continue, and put in a password. You could use a single password just like me, or you could put in a complex password if you need to. But this will be a test system, so I'm just going to put in a very simple one. And now we come to the point where you configure the clock, and in here, the very simple trick is to select the time zone you are in, although it doesn't really matter at this point in time since this machine is going to be for test. So there's no big problem. And on clicking next, it takes us directly to the tech disk where we start partitioning the system. Now, if you're not familiar with partitioning, there's a video specifically on how to partition your system. That will be very, very simple and straightforward. Okay, so we're going to wait a while and be back here. And here we are. We're going to use the guided partitioning. These are other partitioning steps, but guided using the entire disk for this machine is the best. This will set up an encrypted partition. This would use the entire disk and set up an LVM partition. We're just going to stick with guided, not manual, guided partitioning. What guided means is that it's going to take us through it one after the other. Select the hard drive you created. This is a 32 gig machine I created, so I'm selecting that. And selected for partitioning, you have this guided side to it. So you could have a separate home partition if you want to, or separate different partitions, but we're just going to select all files in one partition, which is fine. And then next, And here you're going to click Finish Partitioning and Write Changes to This. This is an overview of everything you've selected. So we click Continue, and it's going to be on No by default. That do you want to write the changes? You go ahead and change that to Yes. And continue. And that is going to take you to installation. Now, the installation could take a while because while it's installing all of this information, it's basically installing them into your machine. So it's putting these files in different areas where they are supposed to be located, right? So we're going to pause and come back when it's done. Okay, so here you select the default environments, and you could add in GNOME or KB Plasma if you are fine with any one of those, but the default is fine, like the one selected by default. It's just different themes. Let me put it that way. Click continue, and we have to wait for it to install all those softwares we just selected. Okay, so this is where a couple of people make the mistake. You have a GRUB Boot Loader here. The GRUB basically is what allows you to select which operating system you are booting into initially. And normally on Windows, what you have is the Windows bootloader. But since there is no other bootloader in this machine, we are going to say yes to install the machine and continue. Now, most people click enter this drive manually, and then they encounter this error where they have to put in the drive for installation. Now, you actually have to select the drive that you created, which is this one, and then continue. And that will take you straight into installing the GRUB Boot Loader. And all you have to do is wait an extra couple of minutes and you're done. Installation is done, and you click continue, and installation will be completed, and then you put into your operating system. Very simple and straightforward. Okay, so this is a GRUB bootloader in view. You select the first one, of course, and it automatically boots you into the machine. So welcome to the Kali operating system, and we would be looking further at some of the things that you'll be needing in this operating system, some of the things you have to know. So see you there on the next video.